Hi everyone, and thanks for coming back to our channel. Today we're at Ribblehead, a few miles north of the market town of Settle. This is an area well known for being limestone country. The main mountain we are photographing today is Ingleborough, at 722 metres, or 2,372 feet high. Here we have a shot with a rounded top of Simon Fell in the centre and the flat top of Ingleborough on the right. In terms of the photography, I think the land is in too deep shadow and it's too lacking in colour, and the clouds could be better. I've loaded a couple of images into Lightroom and combined them. Things are a little better now, but I still think I could improve them some more. So with this combined image, I've darkened it and added a little contrast and boosted the shadows. But the sky and the land can still be improved some more. Within Lightroom, I've added a mask and selected the sky, and then combined the sky filter with a linear gradient to darken the shadows and the blacks. This makes the sky much more dramatic. I've also boosted the contrast on the land and lightened the highlights and the shadows and darkened the whites. I've also lightened the land part of the image a little and lightened the shadows and added some clarity. Overall, this seems to make the land pop. As well as this, I've also used Lightroom's AI mask to remove some of the electricity poles and to make the image seem much more natural. I also had a couple of images of Ingleborough alongside the view towards Ribblehead station. However, the width of the two individual shots is too narrow. They don't seem to give an impression of Ingleborough as it sits in the landscape. So I've decided to combine the two images into a panoramic shot within Lightroom. The initial Lightroom pano is still too dark, so I've brightened up the image and added some contrast and a little vibrance and some colour saturation too. I've now selected a sky mask in Lightroom and combined this with a linear gradient to lighten the highlights and darken the shadows in the sky. I've also added a second mask for the land and boosted the brightness and the shadows and the blacks. I've also added a little contrast and some clarity. Looking at the finished photo, this now shows how Ingleborough fits within the landscape, and it shows the colours and the lights as I remember it. And here I have a couple of shots of the fields alongside the upper reaches of the source of the River Ribble below Ingleborough. Neither of these two shots show the full width of the scene, and both could be improved by changing the colours and removing bits of clutter. So I've loaded both images into Lightroom and merged them as a panoramic image. I've cropped the panorama to remove some excess sky and to remove distractions from the bottom foreground. I've also taken the opportunity to remove the power lines and the poles from the scene too. Looking at the finished photo, this is now a much more rural scene. It isn't disfigured with power lines and poles, and it shows the full width of the view as I remember it. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button and give our video a quick like. We really appreciate this. It really helps our channel. Thanks for watching.